I know this might be seen as old news, but honestly, this video was in the making for quite a long time. It was something that I always wanted to talk about, but I never got the opportunity, I never got the chance to do so. It was a passing stream comment when I was live streaming. Someone came in and asked me this question. Do I think that the racism controversy is going to kick up again when RE5 Remake comes out? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. I do think that people are going to bring it up. I do think that is going to become put out there in the mainstream again. There's going to be hit pieces, there's going to be articles, there's going to be opinion pieces on this very subject alone, because this is not the first time that this game has received this type of scrutiny. Back in the past, there was a game journalist, I don't remember his name, but I do remember he was a male. He slammed RE5 hard for racism allegations. I'm talking very hard, lightning fast, to the point where a lot of the castmates were disagreeing about the game being racist to African Americans and Africans in general. What stemmed from this is the fact that he said Chris Redfield is a Caucasian man from America coming into Kijuju, Africa, gunning down all these folks and civilians and completely exterminating the life there. Alright. That's his opinion. That is a shit assessment and a shit opinion, and I will describe why. First and foremost, and we have a writer of this article that wrote this article this year as well, kicking it off once again. Resident Evil Biohazard has always been about the idea of infected persons, infected people. Doesn't matter the orientation, the creed, the skin color. If it is a virus, you are susceptible to being infected. That's the first thing that we must learn, right? The virus does not discriminate on who gets infected. Therefore, if there is an outbreak in other places, like, let's say, Wuhan, China for Resident Evil 6, then there was Spain with the Plaga, then there was random bumfuck nowhere with Louisiana and the Baker family and RE7, then there was the Romanian village in RE8 village. All different types of people being infected by the virus and attacking anyone who comes into their humble abode. Chris goes to Africa because, first and foremost, they're sending him there. He got a tip off that, I forget the whole beginning. I think biological weapons are infecting the African people in Kijuju with this new strain. BSA is sent in. They need extra backup. They get one of their most decorated soldiers, Chris Redfield, on the call. So he goes to Africa to help out the West African branch. Bioterrorism has once again spread out through the rest of the world, and therefore the virus is made readily available on the black market. Everywhere, every place is susceptible to biological outbreak. Chris says that, and this is Wesker's doing, Wesker is the one who sold most of these viruses. Chris said that this is why the BSA is formulated, to deal with threats like this, to help people. Actually, if you don't know, after RE5, TerraSaved helped the struggling people there. I don't know where folks got this idea of Chris going in there and just completely shooting everybody up because they were black. No, that's not why he's there. He's there on the call to help the people there with the outbreak, to eliminate the threat. And the virus does not discriminate. It's not because of their skin color. It's because of the threat there. It could be even worse if Wesker got away and he implemented Ouroboros everywhere and the entire world would be infected. That's the plot of RE5. Trying to stop, figure out what's going on, and eliminate the viral threat. As I said, the virus does not discriminate, but Capcom did add some changes to RE5. More in particular, in the original concepts, it was always going to be Chris mostly by himself. And then they added other partners like Jill Valentine and Barry Burton. They then decided on making the tour guide because Sheva was always in the game. They made her from tour guide to someone that was a full-on companion. African woman. Now she's with Chris and she's a devoted character throughout most of the game. She has her own arc, her own story, her own premise for being there, as well as seeing her people suffer, as well as her family who suffer in the past due to biological infection. It's about the people there and overcoming this adversity. And the people who happen to be there are African people. I again, of course, I could see someone saying this makes me feel uncomfortable. It's like, okay, but it is fiction. It is a fictional video game. And the subject matter about race in RE5 isn't even existent. I don't think one soul brings that up outside of, I'm going to fight for my people. That's it. That's all you'll hear in the game. The game is mostly about stopping Wesker near the midway point when they discover him. And all the conspiracies with Tricell, everything of that nature. For someone to say that is the big focal point of the game, to basically say Chris is going in to shoot Africans. Well, first and foremost, context, right? Chris goes in to Africa at first with the tour guide, Sheva, and she takes him to the checkpoint with the merchant to get all of his supplies, and she gets hers. And then they do recon. Chris doesn't hurt anybody while he is there in that beginning segment, but he sees weird things like, okay, the Magini are kicking a guy in the bag. They're kicking something in the bag. It looks human. What is that? Then they stop and they look at you. You can already tell something strange is going on when you enter this village. And then it all culminates when they're putting a Plaga inside someone and you can see them mutate, and then they attack Chris and Sheva first. Not only that, there is a enslaved white character in the beginning who they inject with a Plaga as well, and then she attacks Chris and Sheva. So she's attacking white guy and black woman at the same time. Resident Evil 5 is not about racism, and it's never been racist. It's about how badly these people have been affected by their entire continent turning into a viral test bed. And it goes on and on and on. And there's things in this article that I do agree with, that this is when they started to become less horror focused. It's true. Resident Evil 5 is by all intents and purposes an action game. Although to say Resident Evil 5 was first unveiled, so my understanding of racism and the historical role it plays in global socio-political culture was fairly lacking. I just wanted to murder zombies with my friends. It didn't matter what color they were or what country I happened to be in. The infection must be cleansed, and not putting my upgraded shotgun to use would be a tragic waste. But even back then, something uneasy about how the game depicted Africa and the awkward marketing eager to focus on a white man waltzing into an impoverished town only to murder its inhabitants. Again, they attacked him first. Have you played this game? Have you actually played this game where the Magini attacked Chris first? No. No, you have not. And if there wasn't an infection, due to the context of the story, he wouldn't be there. Because the BSAA was funded on global bioterrorism. No infection, no BSAA. I can tell you haven't played this game already. That is insanity to me. And the first thing that you said still exists in the game. You want to do suplexes to the enemies that be. You want to punch them, hit them, fine. This is all fictional characters anyway. I do remember they added in the more lighter tone Majini as well. So of course, and anyone will tell you that's accurate to the continent. There's not only just black Africans in Africa. There's a lot of diverse people that live there. When Capcom did that, they actually made it a lot more authentic than it actually was. So when folks are saying, oh, it was racist, I just don't get it. And Chris is not, again, you would have a point if Redfield was a racist person, but guess who his partner is? Sheva. And over time they grow and bond, and he treats her as an equal. At first, it's a rocky relationship. He says, if you want to quit now, you can leave. There's nothing racist about that. Why is he not treating his partner like shit? It's because it's not racist on characterization. It's not a racist game. It's just a full-blown action game that happens to take place in an area that is sadly overcome by this situation. I think these opinions are very, very stupid. It goes without saying, of course. I think these opinions are dumb, stupid. All the action junky stuff exists in this game tenfold. If they were to remake the game, I don't think you should change it. It should be the same source material. We're going to Kijuju to stop this threat at any means necessary. And Tricell, they got their hands in the pot. The story, the lore about these ancient tribes being experimented on in RE5 was always very interesting, because they would go that far to take it to a level unprecedented in Kijuju. Tribes where the children felt good to murder other people. And that is the reality of biological warfare in RE. Someone is going to suffer, even without the racist connotations. Someone's going to suffer, someone's going to lose. We even saw that in the CGI movies with Vendetta. Leon losing his team, Chris losing his team, people losing their families. I think it's very interesting writing that you need to pay attention to over just looking at the color of someone's skin. And with that, I am done with this video. I'm going to play the video where the actors gave their opinion on Resident Evil 5 and hearing this controversy for the first time, and let's see what they have to say.
People in the destabilized areas who feared another incident like Raccoon City was inevitable.
My name is Sheva Alomar.
Sheva Alomar is definitely a passionate girl. She's from Africa, and due to an incident that happens in her past that I can't get into, she ends up leaving Africa, going to Europe, doing quite a bit of training, growing up there, and returns to Africa to avenge what happens to her in her childhood. We started with mostly the physical motion capture process first. There was a green screen shoot that kind of laid out the whole storyline. After that, there was a voice session. The whole process took over about a year, you know, going in and out of different phases.
It's in Africa. It's been in Antarctica. It's been, I think, in Spain. It's been in the Midwest. It wasn't racist then. Why should it be racist now? It's in Africa. Have fun with the game. Play the game. There are Africans in Africa, but there's other people. You see, in the game, actually, I believe you see some Arabics, some Europeans. They're all running around. They're all in trouble, and they're all in the same boat.
It would be one thing if, you know, they were shooting people who weren't infected or shooting people who weren't, part of this evil. But these are people that are, they have to defend themselves. They are what they are, Majini, infected individuals that are coming to hack you. You should shoot them. Yes. Always shoot the ones that are coming to hack you.
Once you play the game, once fans and media or even skeptics play the game, they'll see that there's a solid story in there that that's not racist at all, and it's it's about the setting. The setting's in Africa. So.
I would expect you to be happier to see us. Us. So slow.
I agree, and TJ Storm is the GOAT. Just play the game. It's been in several different locations of infection. Just play it and see for yourself. This remake is going to, and this is my final opinion, is going to dig up the dirt once more, and I think people are going to be a little bit more louder about that controversy if they decide to remake RE5. You're gonna hear a lot of dumb shit. I've already heard, and I might cover this in another video, but I already heard someone saying that Wesker was a Nazi, and that's the reason for him going around and infecting the entire planet, when Wesker was adapting Spencer's ideals of godhood. He wanted to become powerful, strong, the one who pioneers over everyone else. The narcissist, the manipulator, the schemer, Wesker, who thought he was more superior than normal humanity himself and that he had the right to be a god. Somehow, someone thought that Wesker was the next Hitler. Oh, man. Oh, boy, that might be another topic for another day and another video. That being said, the misinterpreting of this story is off the charts, and I think that if people just sat down, reevaluated, and let Capcom cook with the additions and further context they could add to the plot, they would enjoy themselves, because Resident Evil 5 is the most lore-heavy action Resident Evil we ever gotten, ever. Talking about ideals and premises and changes within certain characters that we all know and love, that isn't just a flip of the switch. We're talking deep stuff here, dating back to when the virus was created, dating back to how Wesker got to this point of changing his ideals from just, I'm just going to own everything I can buy up and get, to I want to exterminate the human race. It's a lot of depth there, and I wish people would have given it a lot more of a chance than just, hey, look at these white characters shooting these black characters. It's like Karen Dyer said, they have to defend themselves. They are agents. They are trained to fight against threats, no different than STARS, RPD, or anyone else. They are equipped to defend. Of course, naturally speaking, some of them weren't prepared for biological encounters, but they will defend themselves. They were made to do that, and the BSAA was more ample to do that in other regions like Africa. There we have it, the dumbest controversy I've ever seen, quite possibly in Resident Evil history, next to that Wesker's a Nazi thing, which we'll talk about later. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Resident Evil 5 is not racist. I'm Renegade Operative. I'm signing out. Your fellow African American to the next. I'll see you guys next time. Later.